Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head, by the way. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson. We created this show for you, because we want everybody with an invisible condition to know that they have a voice, they have a community, and they are not alone. You are not alone. So speaking of not alone, I have a guest with me today that I'm very excited to talk to. Wendy, hello.
Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It is Friday, right? I can't, because sometimes they run together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, trust me, this week has been blending.
I'm not the only one, right? Okay.
No.
So first of all, I'm sorry. I know I just brought you on screen, but I wanted to just throw this out here. My wife's parents today are celebrating 50 years, 50th anniversary today. So I just wanted to say hello, Eric and Jerry Sieverts. Congratulations on 50 years. That is a huge, that's a long time. So congratulations. I've known them for about 30 of those 50. So it's been pretty fun, but yeah, congratulations. Happy anniversary. There's a party going on, there will be this afternoon, so it's a little crazy around the house, but it's gonna be fun. So anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, Wendy,
Yes.
What tell us about yourself and your family, how long you've been in Colorado, what brought you here, all that. So tell us your story.
Oh my goodness. So right, everybody's got a long story.
Everybody has a story. I want to hear it. Yeah.
Right. So
bring it on.
So I was born in 1978, right? So
All right.
Anyway. So yeah.
You don't have to go maybe that far back, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been a massage therapist for 13 years. Before that, I was an accounts payable, right? And in 2009, during the whole recession and all that things, I got let go of my corporate job. And I was in one of those middle positions. So I couldn't get hired as a manager, and I was overqualified as a clerk, right? So I decided to change careers.
Sure.
And so I became a massage therapist. I've been one for 13 years down in Phoenix.
It's quite a switch.
It is quite a switch.
What?
Man, like talk about right brain to left brain.
Yeah, what made you say corporate, get out of here? I'm going to do massage. Like,
Going back to a cubicle and sitting at a desk all day felt suffocating.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Like I wanted to be able to do something else and help people and work with my hands. My dad was a contractor. My grandfather was a contractor.
Nice.
Like I've always, and as kids, we used to work on my dad's construction site. So I really enjoyed working with my hands. So, I made my list of what I wanted my new career to have. And I knew I couldn't afford a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at the vocational options,
Nice.
That were more like 1 year.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah.
1 year and like under $15,000-$20,000.
Right.
Right, because we were in a recession. I didn't want to spend too much money. Right.
You thought that would have adjusted the prices too, but no.
No. So as I was going through it, I'm like, massage therapy just checked off all the boxes.
Nice.
And I had never delved into anatomy or medicine or any of those things, but I also didn't think about it. Right? I didn't think about, okay, well, I've never done this before. How hard is it going to be? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't go through any of that. I was just like, okay, well, I made my list and it checks off all the boxes. And so I went and toured a school on a Friday, and the next class started on Monday. Either that or I was going to have to wait a whole nother month. So, I'm a go-getter. I'm a decision maker, and once I make my decision, I'm just all in. So
yeah,
I love the school. I love the instructor that I met with. And so I started school on Monday.
Bring it on. Hey, sometimes it doesn't need to be mulled over for a month or whatever, when it's right, it's right.
Yeah.
Dive in.
When you know, you just know.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But
exactly.
It was also really hard because I've been a numbers person for so long.
Yeah.
Right. All that analytical and research and everything's got to balance to zero and all the things. And now I have to remember muscle names and where they start and where they attach to and what they do. And those are words, not numbers.
Yes.
It's a different, it was a full-time job for me to study.
I bet. Well, yeah, when it's something brand new that you've never done before, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, welcome to your new life, for a year.
Yep. That, and I was going from a corporate paycheck, right? Every 2 weeks, you get paid, you get
benefits and
paid time off and all the things. And now I'm going to a sales paycheck.
Been there. I've been an independent contractor for the last 12 years, so I totally understand. I haven't gotten a W-2 in 12 years, so I get it.
Neither have I. Well, actually, I can't say that.
It's definitely a different thing. Yeah.
It's totally different. And I got my first job in April, and nobody prepared me for the summer, right? So Phoenix is really hot in the summer. It gets up to 120 degrees. All the kids are on vacation. That's when families do their family vacations and all the things. So literally 2/3 of the city leaves.
And no tourism, right? There's not like a tourist crowd that comes in.
Not during the summer.
No.
All the tourists.
No.
Yeah, exactly. All the tourists come in the winter.
Yeah.
Right? So summer is feast or famine.
Yeah.
And so I just started this job. I'm just now starting to build my clientele, and then summer hits and I was like, oh my goodness. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and I had to deal with that for 3 months before I could then, start building my clientele again. So it was an interesting transition.
Yeah, no snowbirds in the summertime, man. They come in the winter.
So they usually come October, November, and then leave around April. So once it gets about 90 degrees, they start coming out. And then once it starts hitting 90, 95, 100, then they leave.
Yeah. Smart. I mean, I can't, you and I both know a couple of those that have, and I've heard like Natalie, she's like, yeah, I don't want to be in this state when it's snowing, and I don't want to be in that state when it's 150 degrees outside, So
I mean, if you can do it, man, do it up.
Then you just hibernate inside in the air conditioning all the time. That's no fun.
You have the pool or you have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Otherwise, you're soaking wet the whole time. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. So it was definitely a mental process to wrap around all of that.
Sure.
And I was able to build a great business.
Nice.
By 2021, I really felt like I reached my peak.
Okay.
As far as me just working by myself.
Oh, I see.
I had as many clients as I could personally manage.
Sure.
But I had no room. They were all veterans. I had no room for new clients coming in.
Oh man. See, you're almost dead in the water at that point. You have to have
the cash flow,
blood,
Yeah, the cash flow gets stuck.
Yeah.
Right. So the only way I could find room to bring in new clients would then be to open up a whole brick and mortar facility and bring in other massage therapists and all the things. And quite frankly,
that comes with a whole
I don't want to deal with the city and all the legalities that comes with that, and Uncle Sam, and all the whole new tax brackets and all of that stuff. I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, totally.
So I moved up here. I closed up shop, and I reinvented myself again and moved up here, and then opened my new studio in September and rebranded.
Just this last September.
Just this last September.
2022. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So 9 months ago, September 1. And
Good
then
Lord, you're
rebranded.
brand new here. You're like brand new in Colorado right now.
Brand new.
Holy cow! I didn't realize how brand new you were when I met you. So
I have not even been here a year.
Jeez! Wow.
I got here June 24th of last year, and it is only the 16th. So technically, not even a year.
Wow. Well, welcome. All right, here you are, the rookie. All right, the new girl.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I rebranded in January.
Uh-huh.
As a spiritual therapist. You know, massage takes a big toll on your body.
Yes.
And I'm finding out that I'm now starting to develop some spinal misalignments.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to become a bigger issue later.
No, sure. Yeah. So, no, that's smart. So, yeah, change your focus a little bit. And yeah, no, that's good. Well, I mean, that's quite a story to get you here. So, I mean, reading your bio on your website, it sounds like we probably could have you back for like half a dozen shows to talk about, this and that and the other thing. But, I mean, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I know it is.
I mean, it's a great story. I mean, I'm very glad that you expound on that on your website. If nobody's been there, we'll put the info for website up later in the notes or something. You can go check it out. It's amazing. But so just to keep it kind of keep the focus on kind of what we're doing today. How do you? Yeah. I mean, you help people, but how do you, is there a different way you help people with invisible conditions? Like, I know we kind of chatted about that a little bit. Like if somebody comes to you with fibromyalgia or MS or something that you can't see, what do you do there different than you would do with somebody else?
Right. So I help with their mindset. Okay. And I help with their energy, right? So just like the earth has an atmosphere, we have an energy, what most people call an aura. Okay. And it's the energy that we lead with. We have several other energy systems, right? You can't see them, but they are palpable.
Sure.
Right? So if you walk into a room and all of a sudden you get a cold chill and you get the goosebumps and you're like, I don't feel like I should be here. Those are those signals.
Yeah. That's almost like your gut, like telling you.
It's your gut, it's your intuition.
Everybody calls it something, right? Yeah.
All your spidey senses start going.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Spidey sense, yeah.
Or if you meet somebody and just all of a sudden you guys kick it off and you know that you're going to be best friends and all the things, all of those energies of those two people are in a frequency, are in alignment with each other.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I try and help with those frequencies and those energies and the mental mindsets and positive thinking and communication skills on how to communicate the message that you need to, that you want to, but in a kind and loving manner and geared towards the audience that you're speaking to. And
you're talking about communicating non-verbally. You're not talking about like what you say. You're saying what you put out there. Oh, just all in general. Okay. But part of that, I mean, sounds like what you're talking about right now is the non-verbal part, right? Like
all the non-verbal stuff.
Room and
right. So like one lady, she's been dealing with thyroid issues for decades, and she's been adjusting her meds and all the things. And we did one energy session and we were able to drop her thyroid points by 30 points in one energy session. And she was able to get off all of her meds. Whoa. And now she feels better. So, right. So now she has increased energy. Now that her energy is up, she's able to physically do more. And as she's physically able to do more, the more she's going to lose weight.
Sure.
Right. So it's a whole ripple effect, what I call it.
Yeah.
Right. One energy session around her throat area, because that's where the thyroid is.
Right.
And we dropped it 30 points.
Good Lord. That's crazy. Wow. Well, okay. So I know I have a whole like half a page of other questions, but we're like 4 minutes away from going to a commercial. So I don't want to dive into anything that's going to take like 10 minutes to talk about, but
sure.
But I do want to throw out right now to the audience that's watching, anybody that's watching out there has, like, I had never heard of this before in my entire life. I've never heard of this modality. So has anybody out there done any kind of energy work or anything like that to heal from trauma? Because that's I'm curious. There's a lot of things out there I've done, but I've never done this. So I'm very curious. Who else? I mean, I can't be the only one that's never heard of this. Who else has heard of it? Comment in the, if you're watching on social media, shout out, man. We want to hear from you. So, but okay. So what kind of, just like quickly run through, like can you give us a story of like a condition that you were dealing with somebody and it worked and it like turned out well, like the one you were just talking about, but you have another one that's like,
it's a little bit of a longer story. I had this lady call me. She was moving to Phoenix from New York.
Okay.
And she was in tears, and she had gone to psychotherapists and gone to medical directors or doctors and all the things, and nothing was helping her. And she was at the point where she was ready to call it quits on Earth.
Yeah.
Right. So I invited her to come in just for 1 30-minute session. And we started doing some life coaching and some energy work just for 30 minutes, because honestly, that's all she could handle. Like, she was just out of sorts.
Yeah.
And in 5 sessions, not only did she lose her suicidal tendencies,
good.
She found her path. She found what her new life here, just to clarify, here looks like, and she had a whole new outlet on life in 5 30-minute energy sessions.
What?
And to be able to change somebody's life that much, and to keep them from making that decision, is so rewarding for me.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, so too many people are making, especially here in Colorado Springs and in Colorado in general, with so many military bases and stuff, and all that. Just the suicide rate is just ridiculous. So to be able to say that you've contributed to not having somebody do that is incredible.
I mean, I can honestly say that I've saved a life. And
you did.
That is actually bringing tears to my eyes right
No, I love that. And that's what it's about, man. That's when you can do that. That's huge. So, well, thank you. I want to hear more, but to stay on track here, we're going to go to a commercial just for a second. So I'm going to take her off of there. And, I'm excited to come back, because we're going to talk more about some of the stuff that Wendy did to heal herself too. So we're gonna talk about that on the other side of the break, and we will see you in a couple minutes.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Right, welcome back, everybody, and we're going to bring Wendy back up here, and we are back, baby. We are back. Man, I'm telling you, time flies when you're telling your story. And I'll tell you what, there was a couple more things that I know we wanted to get to in that first segment. We never did, but I know so. Part of your story, I know. I'm just sorry. I'm looking at my notes here, but
it's okay.
Part of your story involves a lot of like brokenness and that kind of stuff. How did your experiences with like divorce and that kind of stuff, like because I know that's a part of your story. How did that shift you towards, because that had something to do with shifting you towards this energy work too, right? How did that?
Right. So I am a child of divorce. My parents were divorced twice, married 3 times. Their first divorce was when I was 8, which is it's old enough to know that the family's been disrupted.
Yeah.
Right. But not old enough to have the maturity levels to how to deal with that. Right. And then, of course, in comes the step families.
Yeah.
And the step families that I had were terrible. My stepfather stole from his mom, his kids stole from him and the grandma. Like, they tried to steal from us. My stepmom tried to separate me and my sister from my dad and drive a wedge between our relationships. And they also stole from each other. It was just, it's all unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
It was just chaos everywhere. And of course, I fell into that same pattern.
Sure.
Right? Because I didn't know any better. And so I've been divorced twice. And both of my ex-husbands were emotionally and verbally abusive. I mean, luckily, I've never gotten into the physical abuse.
That's good.
And knock on wood, that's never going to happen.
Right.
But, right. So falling into the same patterns and trying to figure out, why was I making those decisions? Right. What habits did I have? What trauma am I taking into these relationships that I'm picking these people?
Yeah.
Right. So after my second divorce, and after losing a child, I started just diving inward. I got this amazing book called Energy Medicine by Dr. Donna Eden, who uses a lot of science in her energy, and in her energy work, and everything that she does. There's a lot of scientific studies that backs up what she does. And for me, it was my Bible.
Yeah.
Right. Because I got it because I noticed when I was going into massage school that the energy work was much more profound and got to the root of the issues instead of just constantly putting on Band-Aids. And so I figured if I'm going to use that on my clients, then I have to know whether or not it works. So I have to do it myself.
Yep.
Right. So, and it took me 2 years to get through the book, because as you clear one area of your energy and it brings up all of these things, then you need to like emotionally process it and get the mindset corrected and the habits corrected that are around it. Right.
Yeah.
So like one of the habits that I had was repression. Right. I was so afraid. I don't know if afraid is the right word, but I was so conscious of not wanting to spark more arguments in my relationships that I would repress some of the things that would upset me until I just blew up.
Yeah.
And now it's a much bigger argument than it could have been in the first place.
Right.
Right. So that's one of the habits that I had to break as I was clearing out my energy.
Sure.
And doing my healing. And so that's how I learned. And then I learned other modalities like polarity, which is scientifically proven, and reflexology, where there's a lot of science behind it as well.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try and focus on, because it gets to the root problem instead of just being like, oh, I have a backache, so I'm going to massage your back.
Yeah. Well, and with all that, I mean, of course, there can be an emotional component and a sometimes a spiritual component to it. I mean, I will say that, yeah, Catherine and I went through some counseling with an amazing counselor back in 2008, and one of the things she said has always stuck with me, and it speaks to what you're talking about. We are all broken people. You know, my parents, you know, broke me in a certain way, you know, and caused me caused me trauma. And now, and so now we pass that on to our spouse, and we pass that on to our kids, and then they pass that on, and everybody breaks each other. Right. So the question is, how do you heal from that? And how do you prevent that from happening in the future? And so you don't, you know, emotionally damage the next generation. Right.
Exactly.
So, she's actually going to be on the show here later in the summer, I think. Her name's Pauline, so that's going to be fun. But I credit. I mean, our that was some of the best stuff we ever had as far as with counseling and stuff. It was absolutely life changing. So this type of stuff is huge.
Right.
People don't acknowledge it. They just think, well, you just go and get it off your chest and you'll be good. You know, but that's not always the case.
Right. Like mentally, you may think you have gotten over it or gotten past it, but then it's like an onion, right? You have the different layers. The mental part of it is more the top layer.
Yep.
Right. And then you have the emotional layer, and then you have the energetic and the spiritual layers in the middle. And so a lot of people, some people are afraid to get down into that core work.
Well, and some of that stuff is before you could even talk, right? Like I've heard from Pauline and maybe from somebody else too, that like if you're hurt about a situation and you cry about, like if you're crying because of pain in a situation and it's and you can't, like you don't verbally cry, you know, and it's just silent, it's probably because that trauma happened before you could speak. Kind of
absolutely
thing, you know? Which is really crazy to think about, but it can be true, you know.
Absolutely. I had a repressed memory that came up with all these, and I knew that I had something back there that was always nagging at me, right? But I was always afraid to open that Pandora's box to figure out, you know, am I opening a Pandora's box? And what is that going to lead to, and all the things, and I don't want to do that. And eventually it came out, and it was a repressed memory from when I was 2 years old. Sitting in a high chair and just wishing my parents would stop arguing.
And you remember that stuff. You don't think you do, but you do.
But it's imprinted in your energy. It's imprinted in your emotions.
Your long-term memory in your brain, it stores all of that. Even some people would even say in utero, when you're you're hearing things outside the womb, and if your parents were screaming and fighting with each other when you were before you were born, you know, sometimes that's a memory. So it can go way back. So
absolutely, that little memory from when I was 2 years old prevented me. Like, I'm a bodyguard for other people.
Okay.
But during my whole adolescence, I would never stand up for myself. I was one of the geeks in school. I got my head pushed up against a locker, right? I was made fun of on the school bus, all the things, and I would not stand up for myself. And that is why, is because of that little bit of memory created this whole habit and went into my marriages and other things. That's something I had to address.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, the first part is becoming aware that you need to address it. That's the first part, and not just shoving it down and saying, whatever, just, it was just a bad day or whatever. You got to sometimes recognizing that as the first battle,
Yeah. The second battle is having the courage or feeling safe enough.
Right.
Or having the right guidance to be able to,
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's not go backwards anymore. We could go dig up stuff all day. We'd be here for the rest of the day. Let's talk about healing and when that started, and what was that ding, that aha moment that said, based on all that healing that you were doing, that said, I want to do this for others, like I want to, it worked for me. Let's start healing others,
Right. So that, all of that happened in 2015.
Okay.
Right. So my second divorce, my second husband moved out in December of 14.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a child in May of 2015. And, so I started going through this book and clearing out all these things and doing some hard inner work. And I realized as I was doing this energy work and these clearings, I realized just how profound it was and how much better, as I'm going through the process, how much better my life was getting, and not just my life, but making better decisions.
Yeah.
Right. Finding my rhythm, right? Everybody has a rhythm.
Yes.
Right. And finding that rhythm and being in alignment with that rhythm has, it has changed everything about my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So all the forgiveness has been done. All the things have been, and I can live in my purest, truest form that God gave me and just be happy and not be taking in other people's stuff and not be doing all the things and just living the life that he meant for me to have.
Well, now that you know how to do it, because we live in a broken, fallen world that people damage each other every day, right? So it's bound to happen again on one level or another, that you're going to encounter that again. But now you have the tools to say nope, and you can get past it again.
Right. It's giving people the tools. It's going to happen every day, almost every moment, right? Yeah. You could be at the grocery store and be a pedestrian crossing from the parking lot into the grocery store, and a car drives by, almost hits you, and you're just like, what the heck, right? That somebody could take that as being, oh my God, I almost got hit, I almost died, right? It's how you respond versus how you react.
Yes.
And it's having the tools to be able to not take it in, and to be able to process it and expel whatever emotions and all the things, so that you can move past it and move on to the next thing, and truly move past it, and not just be like, okay, I'm done. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because then you've got, it's not like once a week for the rest of your life therapy, right? It's like you get the tools, and if you don't use those tools, no amount of anything else is going to, if you don't choose to use the tools you've learned, what else is going to help you anyway, right?
Right.
So that's cool.
Nobody else is going to do it for you.
No.
Right?
Nobody can see inside your head, thank God.
Nobody can see inside your head. Yeah. Nobody can feel what you're feeling. Nobody can do any of those things. They can't do your homework.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
No, I totally agree. So in the next maybe 3 or 4 minutes before we go to our last break, what if somebody is skeptical about this, like I was, not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical the first time we talked to. I was like, what? Come on. Yeah. Get out of here. if somebody was, you're talking to somebody about it, I'm sure you've encountered this, about the effectiveness of the modalities you use, or what, all the different stuff that you're talking about. What would you tell them to help them understand?
Well, first of all, I would say that there's a lot of science these days that are backing it up.
Okay.
There is there are bodies in cadaver labs that people that have passed away, and you can actually see where the meridian made an indent in the muscle, and that meridian is related to the condition in which they passed.
And what is a meridian? So
an energy meridian is like similar to the latitude and longitude lines around the Earth. They're just energy invisible energy channels that you can't see.
Okay.
And so they take energy through different channels throughout your body, and they affect different organs and different endocrine systems and all the things.
Gotcha.
So look it up. Look up the science behind it. Get the energy medicine book, and it's got like a whole list of studies and stuff in the back of the book. You can, do your research.
Yeah.
Right. It also depends on the practitioner. Right.
Sure.
So find a good practitioner, but also, don't just shut it out, experience it. Right.
Yeah. If you're not open to it, then it's not going to work anyway. Right. So,
one of the things that I did in a class was I sat with a girl and I held my hands out like this, and her hands were on top of mine.
Yeah.
And we exchanged energy between our hands.
Wow.
And in fact, I can feel it right now. Right. Once you can feel, it's kind of like two magnets. When you hold two magnets together that oppose, there's that energy in between them, right? That kind of push each other apart or attract each other. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So experience it first.
Yeah.
And I know that booking sessions gets expensive, right?
Yeah.
Going to doctors gets expensive, all the things.
Yeah, of course.
But come in and just experience it first.
Yeah.
And do your research. But you can't be the shepherd. You can't do all these things. Right?
Right.
If you're stuck.
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. So if you're not open to it, then no amount of no, this works, none of that's going to work if you're shutting it out. So, Right. And it may be the tool that you need. Right.
It may not, but you don't know until you try it.
Yeah, exactly. And be open to it and give it a shot. So, no, I totally get it. I totally agree. This is, and believe me, I'm coming around. It's all right. But unfortunately, go ahead.
We had like an hour-long conversation.
I know. Until we got to the show, we were like, I was going back and forth for like an hour. But we got to go to one more break, and then we'll come back on the other side, and we're going to talk about some of the incredible ways you help people heal, and then we're going to talk about a couple other things that we want to feature for you on the third segment. So hold on one second, Wendy. We'll be right back with you. And stick with us, and we will talk about all of that in the third segment on the other side of the break. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody, for our final segment here with Wendy. Let me bring her back on the screen here. All right. So, all right. You got to take a deep breath here for a second. So, the bottom of your bio that I was reading, before we kind of looking at your website and exploring all the stuff that you're doing. The last thing you've got on there in like big bold letters is "How can I help?" which I absolutely love, because that's kind of my thing too. Like, what can I do? I don't want to just sit around and listen to you talk about the muck you're in. How can I help you do something about it? Right. So,
yeah. And
you've obviously successfully transitioned from victim mentality to not victim, victory,
ownership,
right? Ownership. Exactly. So yeah. So given all of that, like you've come so far through all that in it's kind of a short amount of time, honestly. How do you personally find hope in the midst of all of that you've come through? How do you find hope day to day? What's your hope?
So my hope comes from my relationship with myself and with God, right?
Okay.
Everybody has a different relationship, right? I have spirit guides, angels, whatever you want to call them, messengers, and I know the hope, and I know that I have a bigger purpose. I am meant to do things not just for myself, but for other people, to try and make this world, this universe, a better place.
Yeah.
And try and make this race just a little bit better. I know I'm just a small grain of sand.
Hey, aren't we all? Yeah, no.
And out of the big Sahara desert, right? Yeah. But I know that I make an impact, and a positive impact, to be specific. And so that is my hope. And with their guidance, that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's good. No, and that's awesome. And I love that, because that's everybody that I have had on this show, whether I knew it ahead of time or not, that's what I love about this, is everybody is kind of engaged in that. It's like, okay, I've done this and I've come through that, and now how can I help you do the same thing? And that's so huge, because that helps with your healing too, right? So that kind of finishes it, almost.
It's a reciprocation.
Yeah.
Right? What kind of energy do you want to receive depends on the energy that you put out.
Yeah.
Right? So if I want to be the healthiest version of myself, and I want to live in my truest form, the responsibility, the reciprocation, is then to also help others do the same. And it's so rewarding.
Yeah. To see that light bulb go on, right?
To see that light bulb go on, to see, one of my clients accredited me with saving her marriage, and they've been together an additional 7 years because of the energy work and the guidance and all the things. And imagine, like, that family, right? Because they have kids. That family got to stay together.
Yeah.
Right. And how much better are their lives going to be?
Yes.
Because the whole unit got to stay together.
Yep. Yeah. Always better in that unit, mom, dad, kids.
All the things.
Always better. Yeah. Than and that's the best family union. I get it. So yeah, if you can save that, that's huge.
Right. At the same time, there was a reason why I was supposed to go through all of this.
Yes.
So then I could be this person now for everybody else.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't take any issue with the way that my life path has taken.
Yeah.
Because it gave me all the skills and everything that I need to be able to now be here.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't, I know it kind of sucks when you're going through it, but on the other side, you look back and go, thank God thank God I went through all of this, and you can kind of see what all that did for you, even though during the time it probably felt like it was doing it to you, but yeah, it's so.
I'm gonna put like a graphic up here that says "on the other side."
Maybe that should be like your background, on your wall.
Right.
That could be like on the other side. Yeah, because
right?
because
the grass is greener. The grass is greener on the other side if you can get there.
Yeah. In this situation, I mean, I know we talk about it. It's not always, but totally. If you can do that healing and do the work, and totally. So, is there anything that with your whole life that you've come through to get to this point? Is there anything with all that crazy and all that awful that was going on, before the lights came on, and you were able to heal, like with the divorce stuff and all that stuff? Is there anything looking back with all that crap you went through that you're thankful for?
All of it. Seriously,
okay.
I'm thankful.
I love that. No, I'm not laughing because I don't believe you. I love that. That's great.
Well, some people are going to be like, that can't be true, right?
But it can't possibly.
It can't possibly. But it is true. I am thankful for every minute of it because, number one, it's life.
Yeah.
And I got to live it. And I got to learn. And I got to experience. I have gotten to experience more in my 45 years than other people have in 60 or 70 years.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And that experience, to me, is more valuable than a PhD or some piece of paper that you can get from somewhere. There's just nothing to be said for experience.
No, I agree.
So I'm thankful for all of it.
As hard as it is, there's no substitute for it, and you're so much better on the other side of it. Yeah.
Right. And wouldn't you like to be in that position? Wouldn't anybody like to be? Wouldn't anybody like to be in that position, to be thankful for everything that has happened in their life?
Yeah. It's like, it's like people talk about, there were good days and there are bad days, but there comes to a point that you realize that they were all good days because they all led you to a certain point, right? They all got you here.
They all got you here. They all taught you something. They either, right? Maybe it taught you to stand up for yourself.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe it taught you, what kind of people you want to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Right. It taught you something.
Always a learning process. Yeah. So in the last, 2 or 3 minutes that we've got here, how can people connect with you if they want to learn more? Go.
Okay. So I'm on 5 different social media channels, and I have my website, and they are all TBR Spiritual Health.
Okay.
Right. So my website's tbrspiritualhealth.com, and then Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube are all at TBR Spiritual Health.
Okay.
And I do post on a regular basis. So check out my posts. I also have my new book coming out that's going to be published this week or this month, called Verbal Turbulence. And it's exactly about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about as far as gratitude, and using my 70-20-10 rule on how to find value in every situation.
Yeah.
Whether it's body shaming or somebody said something mean to you, or somebody cut you off on traffic, like how can you find the value?
Yeah. What? That happens to you too? Okay.
Not when I'm at home.
Come on. That never happens. No.
Not in Denver.
No, not in Denver. Come on. Get out of here. Wow, that's so cool. No, and I wish I tried to use. I found a pic. I got a picture, grabbed a picture of the cover of your book, and I tried to get it to fit so that I could figure out how to get it up here. But what I am gonna, here's what I was gonna do. For everybody that want to learn more, for the next couple of minutes of the episode, I'm sorry, I should have had that up there the whole segment.
That's
but
okay.
This QR code right there in that corner. I don't know. I know it's hard to Which corner is it?
Right, it's right there.
You see the QR code. Scan
So
it.
that,
And
yeah.
where does that take them?
That takes them to my landing page
Okay.
for overcoming trauma.
Okay.
And there's a slideshow that they can sign up to, a video that they can sign up to get if they want to, or they can schedule a 30-minute discovery call with me that's completely free, completely confidential. It's just one-on-one. And we can talk about whatever their situation is, what their goals are, and how I can help them reach their goals, and whether or not that's in alignment with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, everybody scan that QR code. And this is going to be available for forever on demand. After we're not live, it's immediately going to be available on Facebook and YouTube, and then the E360 TV website. So this will be available. You can if you missed it live, go back and scan it on demand. So it'll be there for you. So yeah, awesome. Thank you, Wendy. I'm so thankful that we got to do this, and that you were able to share your story and help. If people are listening and they want to reach out, I hope they do. It's going to be great. So
I hope so. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and letting me speak, and, letting me share, and hopefully I can pass on the information.
Absolutely. That's the idea. Pass it along, help others, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Wendy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. That is it. We are done for today. But I'm telling you, next on Tuesday, you're going to want to come on Tuesday. It's going to be amazing. Tracy Crump is coming up. Tracy's mom was misdiagnosed with Alzheimer's, of all things. Turns out it was something totally different. Tune in on Tuesday to find out what. It's amazing. She's also a contributor to the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, which is awesome. We're going to talk to her. She's incredible. You want to definitely tune into that show. And anybody that would like to be a guest, I had a QR code up for that as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. And have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next show.